All right, good morning and welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, the 1010XL app, no question about that. You'll find this show and so many others right there. We are live on Facebook. We've recorded in the 1010XL studios, podcast studios, and then we share it all over the place, YouTube and Spotify, iTunes, wherever you watch or listen to your favorite program and your podcast. That's where Catching Up with Tommy Mack is brought to you by Team Tommy Mack. You see my Azar sausage shirt. Been wanting some swag from them. On the back, it's kind of funny. It says, put more pork on your fork. What does it say? You read it?
It says, sorry, turn my mic on a second. It says, put some pork on your fork.
There you go. Put some pork on your fork. I like it. Not a bad tagline, but Azar Sausage, very proud to have them on board. Third generation, homegrown, down home. The best sausage you'll ever have. I'm telling you right now, and we are having it tonight for my Avery's 24th birthday celebration dinner. We're throwing it in with chicken, with potatoes, with onions. You throw it in, you bake it, and it's unbelievable, and all the juices. And then we throw some green beans on top and finish it up with a little sour cream and whatever else you want to add to the deal. But we'll be having Azar Sausage tonight. To tell you more about Team Tommy Mack, please check out TommyMack.net. Okay, congrats to the Gators. I know Graham is just fresh off two podcasts. One he did last night after the game with Dylan Denmark and Marsh. Just got done with Hacker and Gator Bites. He's wearing his Gator shirt.
That's right.
He's so excited.
That's right.
And listen, I did not have a dog in the fight. Grammage thinks I do, but I didn't. But I'm very happy for Gator Nation, man. That was a well-deserved win. Number one seed the whole way through. And I was just saying to Grammage, and good morning, Grammage.
Yes, sir.
I was just saying to Grammage that Coach Golden, what a path, right? From the allegations to winning it all. Pretty incredible. And I tell you, that team, a lot of grit. They were down, came back. Man, first half, I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but I do highly suggest you go see Gator Bites and Denmark and Marsh because they break it down. But first half was aggravating. Nobody was hitting anything. I mean, like, oh, my God. And then I was like, man, Clayton feels like he's forcing. You know, like that first one was way out. I'm like, oh, bro, don't get into that. I got to hit these big shots. I got to score 30. He settled down second half, no question about it. I don't have the kid's name. He carried him in the first half.
Will Richard.
He's great. He is. I like him a lot.
Will Richard.
He's the one that dunked over those guys in the Final Four.
No, that was
right?
Elijah Martin.
Okay, I like that guy.
But those
he hit a couple threes in the first half.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But Elijah Martin was on the FAU team that went to the Final Four a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So
cool.
he's been to a Final Four before.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of moments in this tournament where the game felt big for some of the guys that are newer.
Yeah.
And you could tell the guy that's been there before.
Yeah, it felt big for Houston.
He'd be the guy that would, to your point, he'd go dunk on somebody.
Yeah.
He'd go get an and one.
Yeah.
He would kind of get everybody going.
Even him in the first half, he tried that dunk and he got blocked. You remember? It was like,
and he did.
Crazy.
I talked about this on the show. He did, but I don't care.
No, I don't.
It's the mentality of it.
Yeah, of course.
It's the mentality.
You go for it, and it was a good block. You know, guy got up.
It's almost like in an NFL game when look, you don't need a bunch of roughing the passer penalties.
Yeah.
But if you get one in an effort to really show the quarterback you're here early in the game to establish a mentality,
yeah. Okay,
you'll live with it.
I can kind of see that. I can also kind of see, going for a bomb and dropping the bomb.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
right,
but it wasn't that big of a play. But I did notice that. And look, whatever. They ended up winning the whole thing, so it was absolutely fantastic. A lot of grit. I love grit. I think Houston's gritty. And like you were saying before the show, Kelvin Sampson, you like him. I like the way he coaches. They had was it them that had no transfer portal?
No, they had plenty of transfer portal guys.
They did, but there was there a team in the Final Four that didn't have any portal?
I don't think so. I think they all had portal guys.
They all have portal.
Now Duke's nucleus for the most part was freshmen and young guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they had a ton of portal. I think they had a few, but I don't know they had a ton.
Cooper missed that shot at the end, man. You think he'd make that 10 out of 10, but
like their best players like Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, some of those guys are freshmen.
Yeah.
So and they're probably gone. They're all going to the draft.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Cooper Flagg, you're going.
Flagg, of course, but even their other they have two or three other guys that are going to be lottery picks in the NBA.
Yeah.
But to the Gators, Tommy, to make it relevant to this show,
please.
This team is so this team is so tough and so gritty, and they've had nothing but adversity come their way in the tournament when it counts most. They've never pointed fingers at each other, and they don't panic.
They don't give up.
But also, like, they have the edge and the gumption and the fight to come back. That's
maybe
what
it'll come into the Jacksonville Jaguars
please.
organization.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
Oh, maybe
that's what I'm saying. Please,
a special appearance by the national champion Gator basketball team.
Well, can
light the fire?
Can the Jaguar equivalent of an Elijah Martin find his way on this Jacksonville Jaguar football team? That's tough.
It's interesting because one of my notes here is who are the stars on the team currently for our Jags? We'll go over it a little bit later. Aren't many. There just aren't. And now, we add more? That's what we need.
We talked about this all year, Tommy. Who was the guy when the Jags are down 7 in the third quarter that is getting in somebody's face, is making a big hit.
Making a play, doing something.
Making a damn play and getting – a lot of times it was Brian Thomas Jr. But other than that, who's the guy on defense?
Agreed.
They need that so bad. Any championship team, any sport, you have to have that.
I think the closest is Travon, and he's going to get his 5th-year option picked up. Good for him.
Deserved.
I think he's a star in the making. I do, man. We've been talking about him for a long time. Now, remember early on, he was just bull rushing. That's why he was good against the run, but not that great against the pass. And then he started some moves. Now he's got moves. That fumble return for a touchdown is a sick athletic achievement. For lack of better words, it was absolutely incredible. He learned some more moves. He learned some more in his game. You're not going to think about anybody else other than Travon Walker. I do think he is that good, and I think he can be even better. Keep in mind, no inside help, really, for either Josh Hines-Allen or Travon in the last year or so. Now, when Eric's inside, that definitely helps. No Eric Armstead, no doubt. But he's had nobody really next to him to really, take the pressure off. We got to add to that. I think they will via the draft. He's got an extension forthcoming. Good for him. I don't know where I'd pay him. I have no idea. I want to see this year, and I think they probably will, at least for the majority of the year before they maybe lock it down. I want to see him continue to go, right? So he said 10, 10.5. Let's see 12. Let's see 13. Let's see great on third down. Let's see great, against the run. Let's see a full package out of Travon Walker. And I think you're going to get it. What's this, year 4 for him now? Coming up, right? Year 4?
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
22 was his rookie season. So 22, 23, 24,
He's
and now
in his prime, man. He is in his prime. He's confident. He should feel so good about his future, about his present day, about how he feels, how he looks, all that, and how he plays. He should be just floating because he's there.
And he's the type of dude mentally that I think we were kind of talking about.
He's got the grit.
He's not a big talker,
right?
But edge, toughness, excuses.
Remember the first year we kept giving him grief because his edge was almost too much. He was making those ridiculously dumb penalties. Remember when he threw the quarterback? Well, we didn't laugh at the time, but you're thinking, dude, the play was way over. You're like, whew.
But I know,
unbelievable.
I know you'll agree with this, Tommy, especially looking back now, and you being a former linebacker. I know you'll agree with this. Like, you'd always rather have a guy that you need to dial back,
for sure,
than a guy that you have to. You'd always rather have Travon Walker than Walker Little,
without a doubt. And I like how the Walkers connect.
You're right,
nice
exactly.
Job. Nice job.
But one of those guys. I don't know if he's ever going to have that fire and passion to really be great.
This is the year to do it.
When I know his talent, when I know his ability, when I know his athleticism can make him great.
Could make him great.
But the other guy, all I got to do is just clean him up some and make him just chill out a little.
He's got the right attitude. There's no doubt about it.
You'd always rather have that.
He's had the attitude.
Yeah.
And that's why we love Travon Walker. No question about it. Listen, I'm going to say it again. I said it over on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, is I'm giving Lloyd a shot at my 3rd or 4th edge. He's not going to start, but he's going to come off the bench. I'm at least going to give him an opportunity to show what he did in college because I think he can be somewhat effective rushing the passer. Whether you move him inside, outside, stand him up, whatever, I don't really care. And I'm not saying cement it, but give him a chance to earn it. Like, let's see if he can help you on third down. Doesn't change my draft strategy. Although I don't, if Carter's going to be there, Carter could be there. You saw the rumors today that the Browns really looking at Travis Hunter. Like, he could be their pick. Like, that would be interesting. I don't blame him. But then what happens to Sanders is next. We'll talk about Sanders' throwing day. I thought it was okay. But back to Devin Lloyd, man. I just think he could be somebody useful. And, I saw someone on Twitter. I didn't respond. I just didn't feel like responding. But it was like, well, we bet, don't you think they would have done it? And I'm sitting there going, okay. Chason played out of position his whole time here. They tried to make him a rush end. He was never a rush end. He never tried to be a rush end. He didn't even play rush end at LSU. He was an off-the-ball linebacker who could blitz and could do all types of stuff. But we didn't see that. And they thought, no, we can make him into one. Well, you knew right away he wasn't going to be one. Now, I know he went out to the Raiders and had a few sacks and all that. Good for him. Whatever. But they tried to take a square and put it in a round peg or whatever, round peg in a square. It didn't work. So to think that they didn't do that with Lloyd, you're crazy. And now what? We're all of a sudden trusting Ryan Nielsen? No, we're not. So and again, this is a training camp experiment. This is a preseason experiment. Let's see if he can bring some more value to the team because you don't want him in coverage. You don't want him in coverage. You want him to bang against the run, short yardage and goal line, and then get after the quarterback. You want Ventrell Miller in coverage. You want Foye Oluokun in coverage. You want maybe who they bring in as a rookie that can really run. I don't know, but you don't want to count on Devin Lloyd on passing downs when he's in coverage. I want him attacking. So we'll see if they can do that. I heard what John Osher said about the O-line, echoing what we've been saying. Nothing's set in stone. You guys are crazy. Listen, if you've never been through a coaching change, you don't know what you're talking about because everything gets reset. Now, granted, there's some political, right? Josh Hines-Allen's not going where unless they trade him, that kind of stuff. Trevor's the man. We know Brian Thomas Jr., he's the man. But for a lot of these guys, it's a reset. We don't care what you did in the past. What are you doing for us now? You got to earn this job now. Nothing's going to be given to you, nor should it. Even with the signings, they're going to have to come in and earn that job. And I know a lot of people out there, no, they're set. They're not set. I'm telling you right now, they are not set in stone on that O-line, especially. And if you don't think these new guys they brought in as free agents aren't hungry to be the starter, you're crazy. And if you don't think they can do it, I think you're even more crazy. I think they can. I know John mentioned Anton Harrison maybe being a star. He's got a lot to prove, man. I think he was great his rookie year. He wasn't great last year. Not good enough at all. So let's see if they can all have a new attitude. I'm open. Whoever wins the job wins the job. But nothing is set in stone on this team, nor should it be. And I'll tell you what. Look, I only went through it in college, right? I had Coughlin come in my midway through after my third year. So I was redshirted. Had that year with Jack McNell, who I love, great coach, or great guy, great coach. We didn't win with him, but I know he won before us with other guys. Had him freshman year, I had him redshirt year, redshirt freshman year, redshirt sophomore year, then fired, and then Coughlin comes in. I didn't know anything about Coach Coughlin, but I knew this. Clean slate. None of this BS, because I was facing some. That's why I tried to transfer, because I didn't feel like I was getting a shot. I wasn't getting my time. Every time I played, I made plays, but they, for whatever reason, they had a senior in front of me who was very good. Matt, you're a very good player. I know you were. And I wasn't ready for then, but I thought I was. That's why I wanted to leave. But when they made the change, I'm like, all right, clean slate. Here we go. Show them. And I remember my dad telling me, I've said this story before, he wouldn't let me transfer. He's like, it's not them, it's you. Make them believe that you're the guy. Show them that you're the guy. You got a new coach coming in. Show them that you're the guy. And if you win the job, then you are the guy. And there's no questions, right? There's no what ifs. But so, again, back to that, like, these guys, man, they better have a chip on their shoulder. They better have a lot to prove. And none of this smooth sailing like we've seen the past year or so. You know what I mean? Where everything's cool even when it's not. So I think they're going to put a lot of pressure. And I do think Tony's going to lead that charge, Baselli. And I think he should, without question. So I would give Lloyd that shot. Again, Abdul Carter falls. You're jumping on him, I would think, at number 5. We'll see if he does. Still not sold on Graham, but I don't know. I think he's going to get eaten up a little bit. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll let the pros figure that one out. But definitely giving Devin Lloyd a shot at that, which brings me into more Jaguar talk. Like, I started thinking, like, all right, I think Travon Walker's a star in the making. I do. I think if he can just take another jump, doesn't have to be that big, right? Because he's really good at a lot of things. Just needs more consistency rushing the passer with more moves. But he's evolved into a pretty good pass rush and defensive end. And by the way, can we give him props from going from a 3-4 outside backer to a 4-3 DN and not missing a beat? It's a little different of a position if you know the difference between a 3-4 and a 4-3 DN. Maybe he's better suited for it, but who cares? He still put up 10 sacks as the outside backer in this 3-4 that they ran 2 years ago. So I think you do give him a good credit for that. So star in the making, in my opinion. Who are the other stars on the team? And maybe in the making, in your opinion, right? So you got to say Brian Thomas Jr. for sure. I'm not calling Trevor a star yet. He's got a lot to prove. He's got star potential for sure. Without a doubt. He's got all the tools to be a star, but he has not been a star, in my opinion. Is Josh Hines-Allen a star? Is he a star? He was a star a year ago. 17.5 sacks. He was a star. Your hesitation says it all, Grammage. Right. He needs, listen, look, he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Josh Hines-Allen has been a very, very good player for this organization. But he needs to be better than last year. And don't give me all this crap. I don't want to hear all this pressure BS. He needs to have a better year. I think both he and Travon Walker will have very good years like they did 2 years ago because they're going to have some inside presence. That's why I think they're going to have some double teams taken off them. They'll have more one-on-one opportunities, and I think they'll win those opportunities. So I don't think Josh is – I don't know. If you went to somebody in that Travon wouldn't be there, but I say star in the making for him. But well, no, take Brian Thomas Jr. So you would say, okay, maybe not a star, but a star in the making. We think he's a star. Pick somebody out of Ohio, right? Tell me the young wide receivers in the league that's a star in the making. Brian Thomas Jr.'s name would be mentioned, right? Okay, pick somebody in Kansas. Like, give me the top edge rushers in the game. I don't think Josh Hines-Allen gets mentioned. Because you're not going to mention 10. You're going to mention like 5 or 4, whatever. And he's not going to get mentioned. So maybe he's not a star. Maybe he's just a very good player. You don't need a ton of stars, but you need some. Your quarterback should be a star. You hope he is. We'll see if this year is the year he really becomes that consistent player. Brian Thomas Jr. is definitely in that mold, right? I'm not going to say Mason Smith, but, man, I hope he turns it because the last 3 games or 4 games he played really, really well. Minus getting a little high. Got to make sure he stays low and in well condition. Other than that, am I missing anybody? Tyson Campbell ain't no star. Good player. Needs a pass rush. Gabe Davis isn't a star. He was terrible last year. Who is there? There's nobody. ETN's not a star either.
The way
some star players on this team, man. I mean, I'm going through it. I'm like, we have legitimate star.
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Well,
the others you could make cases for, but at the end of the day, I don't think you're calling them stars yet.
The way you described it a second ago was exactly what I was about to say. You have to ask yourself, because we've had this conversation before. You and I have, other people have talked about this whole like Jaguar good thing, right? Like what our fans get used to, because it's not even our own fault, but we've kind of lowered our standards throughout the last 20 plus years because it's just been so bad for even guys that are just decent players. We kind of tell ourselves in our own head they're stars.
Yeah.
But you just said it. You took the words out of my mouth. Like, if you're asking somebody in Ohio, if you're asking somebody in Seattle, if you're asking somebody in D.C. that's just a general football fan that is just knows about what someone who watches every Sunday would know.
Right.
And you're asking them, name the star edge rushers in this league. There's no way they're saying Josh Hines-Allen.
No.
They're saying Myles Garrett. They're saying Micah Parsons.
Watt.
They're saying T.J. Watt.
Yep.
They're saying probably Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I'm probably missing maybe a guy here or there that if I would think of if we just went through this. But Josh Hines-Allen's not on that list,
Trade Josh Hines-Allen to Cincy and bring Trey Hendrickson down here. That would be awesome.
Well,
I don't think they would do it. I wouldn't do it if I were them. I'd try to work out a deal. That guy's too good, man.
He's so, but that's the thing, Tommy, is like Josh Hines-Allen is not getting mentioned in that conversation. He's not getting said. when you're told to name the star corners in the league, Tyson Campbell's name is not getting said.
Not even close.
When you're talking about, I will say I think maybe the most underappreciated player possibly in the league, it might be Foye Oluokun.
Yeah.
So, and he flies under the radar because he's not a flashy player, but he's just so good. But you're absolutely right, Ty. And look, I totally understand small market and stuff like the Jaguars are victims. Yeah. But those guys are not getting mentioned because of a small market. They're not getting mentioned because the production's not been there.
Yeah. Well, listen, they were also 8-3 at one time and got on their high horse and thought they could just show up.
Yeah, 100%.
They crumbled.
100%.
Anyway, we'll see if they can make it happen this year. Obviously, we are pulling for them. And,
but a 4-win team that gets their coach fired is not a team that has a bunch of stars that showed up.
But think of my point of bringing that 8-3. If you don't collapse, and you're not going to, whatever you finish, but say you're in the playoffs again, maybe the nation would be like, okay, they got a couple stars on that team.
Well, because that probably also means that Josh Hines-Allen went and got more sacks in the playoffs. That probably means Trevor Lawrence had a couple of That probably means Trevor in that stretch probably had a couple of 3-touchdown, 300-yard games with no picks.
Right.
That probably means Travis Etienne maybe had a 120 with 2-touchdown type. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the production, if they had been able to finish that season well, would have probably matched.
How many times has Trevor thrown for 303 touchdowns?
Not enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not enough.
They don't call. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they can get it going. Listen, this is the year, man. This is the year. To figure out. All right, I do have a couple announcements I got to make. Dad Bod's at American Legion this Saturday in Jacksonville Beach, 7 o'clock tip-off. Hope you can make it. Next Tuesday, I will not be here. It'll be my 25th wedding anniversary with my beautiful bride, Christina. We're going to take a little trip, get out of Dodge for a little bit, just for 3 days. I'll be here on Friday. I may do something remotely, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe if she's in the spa and getting a massage or nails done or whatever, I can maybe sneak out and do a little bit of a podcast. I did get the final edit of Man What a Life, my song that I co-wrote and produced with Damian Starkey. We put it on TuneCore, which he's guided me. Damian's, former Puddle of Mud. He does this for a living and among other things. And that TuneCore will send it out to 150 digital platforms. Give it a shot. Give it a shot, man. We'll let you know when it's ready. They got to approve it and all that, the lyrics and the song itself. You got to download all that or upload it for them, and then they go from there. But I should get some approval here soon, and I can't wait to announce it. I hope you like it. I hope you like it. Story about my dad and what he did in his lifetime. And I'll tell you a really cool story, if I may, little sidebar. Last week, I was talking to my mother, who's going to be 94 on the 18th of April. 94.
Wow.
She's doing great. But, the mind's going a little bit here and there. Anyway, so I played her the song again because she wanted to hear it. And then she's like, yeah, I really like it. I said, the third verse is about you, Ma. She goes, what? And then I sang her the lyrics. I said, let's listen to the third verse again. And you should have seen her face. It was the best.
That's cool.
It was the best.
That's cool.
She got really emotional. It was just so awesome. I'm like, it's about you. Come on, about you and Dad. It's great. It's great.
Those are rare moments, man. That's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You don't get a lot of those.
She may not remember it, but I will. God love her. She's the best. No question about that, but I'll keep you up to date on that. Let's see, real quick, look around the National Football League, because I want to get into something about the number 8. And you probably know what I'm talking about, but I want to get into it just a little bit. Carolina's given a D1 basketball player shot at tight end, 6'8", 245-pounder from D1 Coastal Carolina. I guess I should have wrote down his name, but I didn't. But I thought that was pretty cool. 6'8", 245. That's like LeBron James. That's a big tight end, man. I'm telling you, those basketball players, you don't appreciate it enough till you're live near the court and you see how athletic they are. And they're so big.
And how tall they are.
That's what I'm saying. They're so big. And not just tall. You think they're tall and skinny. They're not. They're tall and they're built and they're big and they move incredibly. And you're like, you could see it. You're like, I remember when Jacksonville hosted round 1 and 2. This was 10 years ago, maybe. It was a long time ago. But LSU was in the first round, and I went and watched that big baby. Remember that power forward they had? Forget what his name, but they called him Big Baby.
Glenn Davis?
Glenn Davis.
Big Baby Davis.
Good call.
Yes, sir.
Good call.
Boston Celtics.
And I thought immediately that guy'd make a great left tackle. I mean, right away I was like, holy cow, his feet, the way he beat. And he missed the dunk. He got hit by the rim. So I thought, okay, maybe basketball's not the way to go. But I thought immediately, I'm like, this guy could play left tackle or right tackle, but he could play O-line all day long. So good for this young man. We'll see what happens. Speaking of O-lineman, Teron Armstead retires at the age of 33. The left tackle for the Miami Dolphins. Going to call it a career. I tell you what, when you can walk away on your own terms, that's a great thing. He played a very long time. He's considered a very good left tackle for a while, and he had a really nice career. So congrats to him.
Saints before the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, the Saints. That's right. He was great at the Saints. Absolutely. Good call.
I remember him being like it was like a big deal when they signed him a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, a big free agent.
You and I had talked about him being
available.
available.
Him here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Julio Jones retires. I thought he was retired, but he officially retires. 13 years. First ballot Hall of Famer, no question about that.
Unbelievable play. In a world where most wide receivers are big-time divas, this dude just showed up and balled. Every time, dude. That catch it'll never be properly appreciated. That catch in the Super Bowl.
Oh, insane.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he was
ridiculous.
He was like Megatron.
Yes.
I mean, there was another version of Megatron for the most part. Can you imagine him in college? And I remember him in college at Bama, but geez, I mean, just trying to cover that guy.
He played an SEC championship game against Florida in 2008.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Florida won the game, but he was unbelievable.
He's insane. Trey Lance gets another shot. How about that? What the heck is going on? Think about San Fran drafts him number 5 or whatever it was. Cowboys give up a ransom to bring him to Dallas, and now he signs a 1-year deal with the Chargers. Isn't that wild? Like, Dallas did they even try to do anything? You know, sometimes I wonder, and I really mean this, like teams doing favors for each other because of the relationship. Like when Baselli went to Houston, there's no way they didn't know he was injured. There's no way. Now, why would they do a deal like I don't know. It just felt like because we gave him Gary Walker, we gave him Seth Payne, and Tony Baselli. Those 3 went to the Texans after 2002, 3. Del Rio's first year, right? Which was 03. And I remember thinking, because Tony never played, like, man, what? I know he's banged up. Like, maybe he can make it happen. But I wonder if teams do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to keep good relationships. Hey, do me a solid here. I'll do you a solid next time. Now, if you screw over that solid, then that whole, strategy blows up and you'll never be able to do a deal again. You know what I mean? That'll spread. So I wonder if there are deals. Because you look at Trey Lance, I don't know. If you're the Chargers, what? Because he's got an arm and he's athletic. And then, okay, I know why. Because the copycat league. You're probably sitting there going, well, could he be Justin Fields one day? Not take over for Justin Herbert. I'm not saying that. But could he maybe have some value? I mean, that's why you try to have quarterbacks on your roster you could develop that they could eventually have value. You trade them away and get picks. Or your starter gets hurt and you plug them in, you don't miss a beat. That's why they're so valuable.
Matt Flynn type of thing.
Yeah, just need to, hey, man,
say
hold down the fort.
Say Herbert goes down for 2-3 weeks and you put him in, maybe he has 2 or 3 great games. He pulls a Rob Johnson.
Or
all of a sudden,
whatever, yeah. Similar to something like that.
That's got to be, I think, kind of the chess move that teams try to play when they sign high ceiling, low floor guys to be their backup like that.
Ted Thompson from the Packers, longtime GM, no longer, but long time. He said, I will never forget, he quoted this was decades ago. You should always draft a quarterback in your draft, no matter what you take.
Yeah.
Even if it's a 7th rounder, 6th rounder, if he's your highest rated player, that's how they did it, you take him, no matter who you have at QB, because you don't know how they'll develop, right? You think back to like this, I don't know if you could do this today, but Green Bay behind Favre, right, had Aaron Brooks, Mark Brunell, and Ty Detmer. They were all backing up Brett Favre. All 3 of those guys became starters, and they all got draft picks as compensation, or the Packers did. You know what I mean? So that there's something to that.
They they had Ingle Martin from Florida.
Oh, they did have
Ingle Martin, FAU or not FAU, Samford. No, Furman. I
remember him. I don't remember him at Furman, but I remember when he was at Florida.
The reason I know that is because he was my high school football coach.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
but to your point of drafting guys,
Yeah.
he was an All-American at Furman.
Yeah.
After he transferred
Well,
from Florida.
I know he's a good player, but I don't know what happened to Florida. Maybe someone was in the way.
So
that Tebow?
He was Spurrier's last big recruit, and then Spurrier left for the NFL. Chris Leak came in. He was never going to start over Chris Leak.
Yeah.
Because Chris Leak was ridiculous at Independence High School in North Carolina.
He was good. He was a really good player. There's no doubt.
But he ended up being. But anyways, the only reason I say that is to bring up your point of they're always drafting the next guy because you never know. Like you're saying, you never know who's going to develop. You never know who's going to have the 3-game Matt Flynn stretch.
Right.
Or I don't know how many games.
Well, even to a certain degree, look at Minshew here in town. He drafted him, what, 7th round, 6th round?
100%.
What did he do for you? He did pretty good for you. Now, he wasn't like what, you look at his stats, so they're not too bad. And I know a lot of stat geeks out there rely on that, so go with that. But, he, to me, I think he got figured out is what I think happened.
Yeah, but
now he's in the perfect spot.
His time here, Minshew's time here for those 2 years, being able to, he was never incredible, but being able to bring Jaguar fans at least something to be excited about.
Yep.
Really, really, really softened the blow of how horrible of a deal the Nick Foles deal was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine dealing with the Nick Foles thing with no Gardner Minshew. Imagine dealing with Nick Foles, but then when you got to bench Nick Foles, it's Jake Luton coming in.
Right.
I mean,
Nick lasted 4 plays? No, a couple drives.
It was that first
he threw that beautiful bomb when he got hit.
Unbelievable throw. That was it.
That was it.
Chris
Jones landed on him back when you could land on QBs and break their collarbones.
It's not dissimilar from, we're talking about Trey Lance, the 49ers.
Yep.
Imagine if the 49ers had not drafted Brock Purdy.
Right. Great point.
I mean.
No, we already drafted one in the first round. We don't need him. Guess what? You may.
The wonders Brock Purdy did for John Lynch and that crew.
You're right.
To not receive that backlash.
Yeah.
Because they could just kind of trade Trey Lance away quietly. They could sort of forget it ever happened.
Brock was on a podcast recently, and they asked him, when did you feel like, he's like, during camp, I felt like because I could whip it.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a shot, because I could throw the ball.
Yeah.
That's why they drafted him. Anyway, you're right. Good call. Before we get into something I really want to get into because I'm interested, I did watch the highlights. It was just highlights of Shedeur Sanders throwing. It's hard to tell just not being there live, but he threw some great deep balls for sure. Over the middle, he had a lot of whip on it. He did, like the dig routes and those kind of things. He looked good there. I thought he didn't throw a lot of. He threw some out patterns, but they're kind of like 7 patterns, like you would throw on a kind of a loop. I didn't see I saw a couple to the side. They kind of hung a little bit. Now, you could beat that with timing, right? You throw it sooner. But I don't know. And I know everyone's a pat. I don't care. I don't care if he pats the ball. Maybe it's just a nervous thing with people around, whatever. He's got to get the ball out on time, just like anybody else. But I think his arm's good enough. I do. I mean, from what I could tell. And I'm not an expert by any means, but I told you how I felt about it when I saw, timing and accuracy. No, I want to see arm. I want to see what they say about Cam Ward. I don't even know if he's going to be a great QB, but what do they say about him? Great arm and a playmaker. That's what I want to see first out of my QB if I'm taking him in the top part of the first round. You know what I mean? You gotta have the juice. You gotta have you gotta have the goods. It can't be good enough, in my opinion. I want that arm first. I don't want a statue. I want someone who can move a little bit, but the arm over the movement for me, because you still got to make all the throws.
You just explained why Trey Lance went top 5,
yeah,
and why Anthony Richardson went top 5. You know what I mean? Because you obviously want both. You want the production with, and that's when you get Trevor Lawrence, who's first overall. That's when you get Caleb Williams, who's first overall. That's when you get Jaden Daniels.
Right.
That's when you get those guys.
Yep.
But not everyone can be those guys.
Right.
Sometimes you have to take a chance and hope that you just drafted Josh Allen.
Right.
But
that you can mold them.
But I'd rather have Josh Allen than Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Who's just physically not there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because when it's physically there, then maybe I end up with an MVP type of quarterback.
Right. Absolutely.
So
that's why it's such a hard position to figure out whether they make the jump from college to pro.
It's got to be the hardest evaluation in all of sports, right?
It's just, again, I say it all the time. You don't know until you get him in.
You really don't.
Because they're trying to put, it's like an interview. Do you put your best foot forward or whatever? No, you put your best foot forward. You pretend like you don't go out on the weekends, right? You pretend like you don't have a drinking problem. You pretend like, I'm kidding, but you pretend all these things. Like, no, look at me, I'm on flour. Of course you want to hire me. Right?
Justin Blackmon's not going in a combine interview saying, yeah, I really got I drink every night.
What do you like to do, Justin, in your past? Well, I like to sit at the bar and get hammered. Is that a problem? You know what I mean? No, you're putting your best foot forward. And I hope he's doing okay. I saw he got inducted, I think, in Oklahoma State's Athletic Hall of Fame. Good. Listen, the guy, it's too bad. It's too bad. He could have been a superstar player for our Jaguars. There's no doubt. For the NFL, Justin Blackmon. No question about it. Team Tommy Mac brings you Catching Up with Tommy Mac. I want to thank them all for all their continued support. They've been around for a long time, man. They're always there when you need them. I already mentioned Azar Sausage, whether in your favorite dish or in a bun, Azar Sausage is the one. If you got thrown in the clink, call my friend Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds team. 904-822-2245. He'll get you out in a blink. Carbon Man Flooring. It's more than just a LVP. It's Carpet Man, and it's all types of flooring. And it's at the highest quality and the lowest prices. CarpetMan.biz. Morgan & Morgan. Hey, if you're injured, you call Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com. They're the biggest in the world. They got all the resources, and they can handle your claim. ForThePeople.com. J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. My neighbors are using them to help clean out their house as they get ready for it to move. And listen, your so-called junk is somebody else's treasure. They'll refurbish it, refine it, and then give it to families in need. Veteran-owned and operated, and veteran families in need. Freedom Finance, my man Courtney Myers, he's there to be your fractional CFO. You startups, you early stage, you guys trying to make a jump. Make sure you check out freedomfinance.llc, and you'll get the number right there. Courtney Myers can help you in all types of bookkeeping, forecasting, raising money, whatever you may need. He handles it all as your fractional CFO. Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, the number one commercial real estate firm in Northeast Florida and beyond. And I'm talking everything here. I'm talking industrial, retail, office, the investment side, investment sales, all those types of things, and development. 904-399-5222 or phoenixrealty.net. Salt Air Inn & Suites, the boutique hotel with concierge service in Atlantic Beach, 4 blocks from the ocean, 2 blocks from all the action. No question about that. Make sure you go to visitsaltair.com. Great for a night away, a weekend getaway, or a week's vacation. Family Tradition Specialty Foods, man, they keep racking up the Scovie Awards, man. They sure do. Home of Coconut Joe's Hot Sauces. That's the hot sauce on our table. Check them out and give me a shot to be the hot sauce on yours. Family Tradition Specialty Foods.com is the website. Code Ninjas, codeninjas.com. A lot of .coms, of course. But Code Ninjas got 5 locations now. They got summer camps for your kids ages 5 through 17. They learn all types of stuff. I mean, all types of things. They're even going to build video games. They're going to have some fun outside, get inside. They're going to work on Roblox, on Minecraft, on all these, security, all this types of technology, including coding. Make sure you get your kids. Get them out of your hair and put them into camp at Code Ninjas Camp. And Baracus Group, I told you about the story about the home invasion of Sherman last week. Richard Sherman, his family was in the house. Listen, the Baracus Group can just be there for you. Be on call. They've got the team. You need to go out and about. You need protection. You need some risk management. You let them take care of it for you. BGSJax.com for the Baracus Group. Want to thank 1010XL, of course, for being here. All right, so I read today there's been a trademark dispute that looks like it's being figured out. It's over the number 8. So Lamar Jackson is trying to trademark number 8, which I find very interesting. Now, he's not the only one, trying to do stuff with their number. Troy Aikman had a drink called 8. Suppose he got shut down because Lamar said you can't use 8, right? So he filed something about the 8 number, and then these guys, so that he's working it out. Well, anyway, they worked it out. Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's number 8, I guess he's given up and letting Lamar take number 8. Now, here's my problem. It's a little narcissistic for any of them, in my opinion, but whatever. But here's my problem with Lamar, and I love Lamar. He's great. But you're in Baltimore. The greatest number 8 of all time in Baltimore, I don't think it's Lamar Jackson. I think Cal Ripken Jr. would give you a run for your money. as far as an iconic sports figure in Baltimore. Right? Is that fair to say? No, I don't care. You do what you want to do. I'm not bagging on Lamar. I think he's a great player. He can do whatever he wants. But I do find it a little bit like, I don't know. I'd be like, wait, that's the same number as Cal Ripken Jr.
The Orioles won titles with Ripken, right?
Oh, yeah. He was Mr. Iron Man. I mean, he was the best. He was one of the greatest players of all time. And how about Alex Ovechkin, who just surpassed Wayne Gretzky? He's on the Washington Nationals. That's not Baltimore, but that's in the area. He wears number 8. I just find it a little like, Lamar, come on, man. Like, seriously?
The number
humbleness could go a long way here, buddy.
The number 8 is a tad general to trademark.
Kobe Bryant wore 8 for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 24, but I don't know. I find it interesting that, I don't know, I guess you can't all have 8. Right?
But that's, to me, I mean.
How do you even do that?
I mean, come on. Like, if it's if it's like a saying or something that Lamar has that's a little more specific.
Yeah.
Makes totally get
well,
it.
And listen, you could trade. I've done the trademarks. You can trademark for specific things. You know what I mean? You can say, I want number 8 for this, or I want this for a shirt, or I want this for the name of a restaurant, or you know what I mean? You can file for whatever you want. I just thought it was a little nefarious. Isn't that a right word? I think in here, this context, that you wouldn't consider Cal Ripken Jr. to have number 8. Maybe he went to him. Maybe he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did, but maybe I would. I'd be like, yo, Cal, I know you're the best 8 in the area, but what do you think if I use it to benefit whatever business I'm trying to benefit?
So is it that you're trademarking number 8 for any type of like business venture you might want to do that you call 8 something?
It's got to be sports related. Yeah.
Okay, it has to be sports related. Okay.
So like if Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to put out a line of, I don't know, pool balls, he calls them 8.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's a problem. Like he shut down, or not shut it down, but I think Aikman had to stop producing this drink called 8.
Yeah.
Because of the dispute. Now if Lamar had already filed it, he has every right to get them to stop. Yeah. I'm not saying that.
So say
I'm just saying Cal Ripken Jr. is a bigger star than Lamar Jackson in Baltimore.
Yeah.
If anybody needs their number 8, immortalized, it's Cal Ripken Jr., in my opinion.
So I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand. Like, say Lamar came out with a line of cleats that was called, Edition 8 or something. I don't know. I'm just making something.
Yep.
But he has that trademark, so
correct.
Another player in the NFL that's number 8 can't have the number 8 tied to their cleat line they drive. Okay, I got
That's
you.
a trademark. Yep.
Because
he's got to protect it.
I guess I understand where he's coming from, but I agree with you. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, you're a big deal. Lamar's a big deal.
Of course.
But you're not
MVP, man. He's incredible.
You're not the only number 8 that's it. You and 8 is not Jordan and 23.
Thank you.
Like,
not even close.
No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you could say you and 8 aren't close to Kobe and 8 either, couldn't you?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would totally agree.
Well, no, hockey's different. But by the way, I don't know if you saw the debate yesterday. Stephen A. and Sharp, which Shannon was such a great player. Man, the way he screams, I could never do a show with him.
Yeah.
He gets so up to, like, so, and you're like, take it easy, man. Like, what is the problem? Is that how you get your point across?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be, I could yell too. I could yell just as loud as anybody else, but that's not what I'd want to be.
Yeah.
About. But anyway, they went at it with the hockey player. I just had
PK Subban?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And he was like, you guys are crazy. You're trying to compare. LeBron is the greatest compared to Ovechkin. Of course, they're biased because, there's a little bit of bias, especially with Subban, but PK. But he's like, guys, you have no idea like what it's like to do what Ovechkin has done in hockey. The hits, the physicality. Now, basketball is physical too, don't get me wrong. And I'm not saying I'm agreeing with him, but he was, man, very adamant. It was a good debate. Got a little bit because they were screaming at each other. Not PK. He held it cool.
My problem with those debates is I don't like when they do them in the calendar year. That's a July debate.
Yeah.
But the NFL draft,
fill time.
The NFL draft is a few weeks away. Yep. We just had a phenomenal March Madness tournament.
Great March Madness
tournament. But we're talking about LeBron James versus Ovechkin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But anyways, back to the point, like talking about Lamar, you just mentioned I think 3 guys
Yep.
that are just as big of a deal wearing number 8 as Lamar.
If not bigger.
When we're talking about Jordan, and who's number 23? Right. Michael Jordan.
Right.
What sport?
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter what sport. Michael Jordan.
Nike.
Right. Man, like that.
He's
that's
Nike.
No one owns a number like that.
Right.
Other than Michael Jordan, in my opinion. I don't know. Is there someone else that owns a single number in that same way?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No. We went through some. When we did Suck It Up, we had to go through a trademark thing. We had to actually license the trademark from the trademark owner to put it on T-shirts. We had to fly up to Boston, have a conversation, so that you could do that. Like if you own the trademark, then you can. Like, Man, What a Life. It's trademarked. Nobody can claim a song named Man, What a Life because I've trademarked. You know what I mean?
But that's so much more specific.
Yeah, I agree. Eight is like so broad. Like, how do you even...
8 as a sports number? I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with 23, I mean, the Miami Heat retired 23 for Jordan just out of respect for him.
Right.
He has no connection to the Heat, but just out of respect.
LeBron, what's he? He's number 23 too, isn't
he? LeBron has gone back and forth between 23 and 6. 6 was his Olympics number.
Yeah.
But he's been 23 most of his career, yes.
I know it's fodder for shows. Who's the best? Who's this? Who's that?
But I think even LeBron would say, legacy debate is a different thing. I think even LeBron would say 23 is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He said before he wears 23 because of Michael Jordan.
Right. Well, there's always this debate. Who's the greatest of all time?
But I think that's separate from in terms of the icon.
Yeah.
Even LeBron would be like, no, the biggest icon in probably sports ever is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It's Michael Jordan. It's probably Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not many people on that list.
No, you're right. You're right. Interesting though, but they're working it out through the courts. I just found it funny what Lamar's doing number 8 when you got one of the biggest names in all of sports from the same city in Cal Ripken Jr. I don't know. I'd find a different trademark name, And I haven't even won a Super Bowl. I know that doesn't totally matter, but I don't know.
No, but I get what you're saying. It's a little bit like...
have some humility, Now, granted, with Aikman, I mean, I don't know. You look at who's got the prime drink. One of the what are their names? The Paul brothers.
The Paul brothers. Yeah.
I wonder how he got that name for drinks.
Like how
nobody
prime?
had it, so he probably trademarked it, and nobody had it for beverage, and then he owned it. And that thing's rock. I haven't even had one. Have you ever had one?
Yeah, they're good.
Are they good? What are they?
It tastes like a G2.
So like an energy drink?
Like a Gatorade. No, they have an energy drink line.
Okay.
The original ones that came out with was hydration.
Uh-huh.
So again, it's like a Gatorade G, because how G2 came out, it's like lower calorie,
right? That
kind of thing with a lot of electrolytes. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their flavors, and then they also have now an energy drink that's like 200 milligrams of caffeine or something.
Okay.
So
cool. Those guys know how to market stuff, but
oh my God,
they got a cool name for their drink.
Yeah.
Prime. What a great. I mean, why didn't Dion say, "Wait a minute, man"?
Right. Exactly.
No way. You can't use my name. I love.
By the way, why he doesn't have a commercial for Prime is a missed marketing opportunity.
Oh, you got to think they've tried. He just got a nice payday. Good for him. I've always liked Dion. I really have. I've never. I know a lot of people get put off by some of his brand. I like it. I like swag that you can back up. I do. I don't like a lot of chatter, but I like the swag part of it, how you carry yourself. As long as you can back it up, I think it's fantastic.
I've warmed up to him a little bit. He bothered me when he left Jackson State to go to Colorado.
Yeah.
Because I felt like he talked a big game about what he was doing for HBCUs just to kind of up and leave.
Yeah.
But he's kind of worn me down. I'm kind of. I've really enjoyed watching them play in the last couple of years.
You think about it though, Grammage. Every coach does that.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to build it. And then next thing you know, someone comes calling. They're like, hey, I'll double your salary and give you a great, suite and whatever. And you're like,
for sure.
Okay. Hey, man, I really did mean it at the time when I was saying those things. But now things change, and they do change. But I think he's great. Now, he thinks his 2 guys should go 1 and 2 in the draft. But that's just him promoting.
That's Prime being Prime.
That is his son. I get it. And he did throw well enough. You know, it wasn't like he's going to have a weak arm. It's just not a rocket. And we all like rockets from the arm.
And I have to say to them, to Dion and Shadora and Travis Hunter, like, as someone who's a huge college football fan, I watch from game day to 2 in the morning.
Right.
They were fun to watch.
Yeah, totally.
Man. Fun
Absolutely.
to watch.
Yeah, they got a
People
program.
can have their opinions, whatever. To watch them play a football game, they were awesome to watch.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing. Dion hiring Warren Sapp, at first I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, he seems like a problem child all the time, you know? But he's turned out to be a pretty darn good coach. And you hear him in his interviews, he's really kind of calmed down, humbled down. You know, he's talking ball. The last one I love the Mohawk. I think that's awesome. You know, Warren Sapp, what a player. Holy cow. You talk about a 3 technique. Whew, unbelievable, that guy. Can we get one of those? Is anybody in the draft anywhere close to a Warren Sapp? Jeez, he was incredible.
If you could predict that, I think they'd probably go 1-1.
No doubt.
If you can tell me that I can have Warren Sapp in the middle, I can have Aaron Donald.
Well, look, we're saying we say that about Genty. If he's Fred, wouldn't you take him at 5?
Yeah.
I mean, if you could look into the future and be like, he's going to be your next Fred Taylor, you'd be like, I'm taking him.
You can tell him he's my next Maurice Jones-Drew.
Oh, totally. MJD, no doubt.
100%.
Absolutely. Right.
100%.
But you can't.
No. But
you can't say he's your next MJD. Maybe.
If I can shake the crystal ball,
and
I can watch Ashton Genty highlights and I can watch his statistics and his MJD type numbers or Fred, then I'm calling 31 teams in the league to see who wants Travis Etienne. I'm getting everything I can for him. Ashton Genty is my RB1 and Tank Bigsby is my RB2.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Just make sure you got the line.
Of course.
Because regardless of the back, you better have the line. So I know Dale asked what kind of pressure would that take off Trevor if you brought in a Genty. And, if the line works, it's great. If the running game gets going, it helps every QB because they just don't pin their ears back and come get you, you know. So you got to have that running game. I know they're working on that, and we'll see how that all shakes down. I think I got all my notes taken care of. We'll be back on Friday for another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Got the Horse's Mouth on Thursday, and, of course, got Jaguars today on Friday, and we'll be looking forward to all of that. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Suck it up and get to work, damn it. It's just one of those days. Whether you celebrate it all night, your Gator victory or not, it's a Tuesday, and you got to get to work because then you can, screw off Wednesday, Thursday, and part of Friday. Right? That's the way I look at it. All right, till next time, stay safe, be cool, stay cool, and be safe. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.